Hi guys, welcome to Who Are We, the podcast where you get to meet the we of We Carry Kevan. I'm your host, Kevan Chandler, and I want to introduce you to some of my friends, like Nate and Kayla Brennick, who I met in China when the guys and I visited a few years ago. They now live in Nashville, so it was fun to catch up with them and talk about what friendship can look like between a father and son. So, this is funny. I don't really know where to start with you guys, because a lot of people I've been asking as an opener, like, how long have you known each other, and where did you meet, and that sort of thing.
Known him since a very young age.
since your halcyon days.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I don't know where that question starts, but
yeah, you have to come up with a.
How about this one? Where did we meet?
Oh.
Well, which it's two different stories.
Two different stories, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta recollect mine, so I'll let you go first, Dad.
Well, planning the trip to China and then having you guys come over, we kind of met a little bit beforehand as we were discussing the trip and some logistics.
Yeah, some phone calls.
But it was in Luoyang, China, in the middle of China that we first met on your trip to China to do some exploring.
Yeah, I remember a very good night with you on the roof.
That was probably one of the most memorable evenings on the roof that I cherish to this day.
Oh.
It was having all of you guys up, and yeah, I think you guys had already been on a bit of a cultural learning curve, and I think I hope it was a little bit of a good space for you guys.
It was a good time to process and kind of decompress what we had experienced thus far in the trip.
Because you guys had taken an immediate deep dive.
We had.
Into culture. And
we had lived with a grandpa, like a Chinese grandpa for a week, and then we came to see some Americans, being you guys. So.
A little bit of a different pace from the week before, but no, having you guys there and experiencing a little bit of China already, and then being able to kind of apply that, what you'd already learned, to what we were doing and the work that was going on there. It was a treat to have you guys there.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then Caleb, I feel like we met just a few months later.
Yeah. And I remember it was at our mutual friend's house.
The Dorises.
Yes, the Dorises, and you had come over. You had some sort of We Carry Kevan event, didn't you?
It was actually for a Show Hope fundraiser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we just showed up at the house beforehand.
And I had heard about you. I was really bummed that I missed you because the rest of the family was back in the States at the time. And we had a whole gathering of people in there. We were all hanging out. And I remember I was kind of sitting off to the side on the piano bench, just kind of enjoying the conversation. And I remember you turned and you looked at me and you're like, "Hey Caleb, come over here, I want to talk to you." And we just talked. You asked me what kind of books I was into. We talked about Narnia. And I just remember leaving that conversation thinking, oh man, he notices and he sees those people who are sitting on the outside of the conversation on the piano bench. And I remember being really touched by that, and that was kind of the beginning.
What you don't know is that I just have a weakness for people sitting on piano benches.
I toyed around with that theory, but I eventually ditched it.
Is that what Kenny was sitting on when you first met her?
Yep, that was it. Like, that's my girl. I remember in that conversation when we first met, you were talking to me about you were working on a book.
Oh, that's right. We talked about the book.
Yeah, and that's fun because Katie and I are about halfway through reading the first draft of it right now.
I've been seeing the comments you've been leaving, and I haven't gotten around to digging through them yet, but I really, really appreciate that.
Do they ping your phone in like
I get
2
an
in
email.
the morning? Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Still trying to figure out the rhythm.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can slow down. You don't have to.
Yeah, we can go slower.
You don't have to.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
This is a stroll, not a marathon.
Yeah.
And if they're not helping, you don't have to either. I don't know.
Yeah.
The thing is, I know that the sticks help in some way. I'm trying to figure out how without jostling Kevin around too much.
It's okay. Here, we can go slower every time.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's
why don't you-
meander.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
It's easier on his head.
Yes.
It goes in the most gentle way possible.
Now I'm just rocking in slow motion. Yeah, it's fun. So I'm curious. We were joking at the beginning about when did you guys meet because you are father and son. And I want to get more into that dynamic later, but you guys spent several years in China, and Nate, you and I have talked a lot about how do you do business there, and you build relationships and whoa, I'm rocking back and forth. It's okay. Try, walk like you have a cup of water on your head.
Okay. Let's try that.
That's not going to change much.
Am I?
He doesn't walk well with water on his head.
I am known in my household for being the one who's up at 11 at night knocking everything in the immediate vicinity over.
Oh gosh.
If it's getting too much, we can switch.
No, it's
we
okay.
can switch if it's...
No, we're going a little bit further.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wondered if you guys could speak to that, even in business, you build relationships that are really honoring friendship through service.
I mean, within the context of our relationship, I think the clearest memory I have of that is I would have been 10 or so. And we found this book. Do you remember this, Dad? It was The Way Things Work. And every night I would get into bed and you would read me a chapter about that. And we would just talk. Sometimes we'd go for half an hour or so, just because we were so into it. And
I thought that was a ploy to stay up.
Well, not overtly.
Yeah, that was a good book.
Yeah, and I just remember having those conversations and staying up late. And that was some of our best bonding moments, I think.
So, how has that helped you in your relationships and your friendships?
I don't know. I think it taught me the value of time, I guess. And a lot of times I think we assume that certain things are the most valuable commodity at our disposal, like our money or our care or our ability. But I think the most valuable and most in-demand resource that we have in this world is time. And the best way to show love to somebody is to give away some of that precious time. We only get 24 hours every day. And every one of those that you give to someone else is a blessing.
Yeah. I think, relationship, but friendship to a core is a mutual desire to walk a journey with someone. And I think being able to connect with those that you want to do that journey with and that want to do the journey with you comes about by spending time with them. And so I think that just being able to recognize that the time we invest will repay that investment as we find those that want to do life together with us. And of course that plays out in family, and so many times you get I think every parent that has raised kids and realizes how quickly that time goes. And I don't think there's a parent around that would wish that
switch off soon.
Sure.
that would wish that they could get some more of that back.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that was
No, you're good,
awesome.
man.
I overestimated my capability.
Hey, you're good, man. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, we'll take off and sit me on the ground,
Okay.
and then we'll lift back up and
So
get
then
you
you can
on
undo,
your back.
Which one?
eat both of them, and then when you're ready.
Sorry,
you
Mike.
can-
Sorry, Mike.
All right.
You tell me when
You
you're.
want to turn around, feel it when you're good.
And like-
Should I-
You tell me when you're
Pull
unbuckling.
these shoulder
Katie,
straps.
do you want to hold up here, or are you okay, Grab?
I'm okay. I'm holding it down here.
Okay.
If that's okay for you, Nate.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, and then grab those straps and lower
Straps.
down.
Yep.
And then I'll watch his feet. There
There
we go.
we go.
Nice.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Very nice.
You're
You
good.
did it. You rocked
I
it.
got the opportunity. Thanks for.
Got to answer questions and
Yeah,
think.
man.
That's impressive.
I know, it's really impressive when people tell full stories while they're carrying me. It's unbelievable. So,
I know. I think I couldn't. I wouldn't.
Oh, we're
be able
good.
to.
Good.
Yeah.
I saw some movement there.
How's the head pillow? Do I need to rotate it down?
No, it's good whenever I'm up.
Okay. Sounds
yeah.
good.
So we can loosen these straps up.
Oh right. Yep. Thank you.
Am I just on an uneven area?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I saw you move and I went, that was why I reached over.
I was like,
Yeah,
what's
I can do
happening?
this if you want. It's like a little. You gotta get the right angle.
Yeah, there we go.
Just so much easier to start from
Yes.
massive and then
Yep.
do the same for this one.
Do you need me to lift on this side?
Yeah.
Oops.
Okay.
And then these are kind of, I think, as tight as we can get them.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's fine.
so I have
Yep.
this.
Okay.
And everything else
Is this
okay.
one loose? This one?
Alright.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh yeah, no, I can do these. Sorry, I forgot. This is pull down. Okay.
Cool. All right.
So,
All right.
you and I will both hold these things.
These straps here?
Yep, and then we'll lift
Okay.
up. Okay.
Can you move my hand out of the way?
This one, this one, yeah.
There we go.
Ha, ha.
Sweet.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Nice job, you. Yeah, so I can't help you this time.
Is that on?
I think I'm in.
No,
Yeah.
you're
you got
on.
it? All right.
There you go.
All right. Hold on. Let me get this. Find this one. There we go. Hold on 1 second. I'll tell you in a second here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hold on. Let me get this a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
You right there?
You good? I'm good.
Almost. Let me get up just a little bit.
Up. Or,
Just a little bit. Yep. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
I'm not tall enough to lift from up there.
Nope. That's good. I'm just tangled here.
My wee little hobbit legs.
hey, how are y'all doing?
Good. Thanks.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, yeah, and
Good?
this one. All right.
Let's try that.
Adjustments or
How does that
No.
feel?
Feels pretty good. Just tighten this
okay? Oh yeah,
just a
this
little
one.
bit more, and then get that one.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks. So we'll
Yeah.
have this arm. Oh, the other arm. There we go.
Oh, is one of those seamy knots?
Oh,
I think let's keep
Okay,
moving
that's
so they
great.
don't.
There you go. have the sunscreen, but
Alrighty.
All right.
So where were we?
I don't remember.
So yeah, Caleb was talking about time and the gift of time that you give to people, and then you were saying that's how you figure out who wants to go through this life with you and have the experience. So something that I really like about you guys is as a father and son, you guys, I mean, you're close. You spend quality time together, right? What kind of?
Not nearly enough.
Not nearly enough.
I wouldn't say that's any fault of yours, though. Just
No.
the availability of time.
Sure. Well, what does it look like there for you guys? What do you enjoy doing together?
Well, I know I'm gonna get no end of it, and I'm gonna get no end of grief once we're done with this. Once I say this, but I think honestly, my favorite time that I've been able to spend with Dad is he's a jack of all trades, and one of those trades is home repair. And he's enlisted me for numerous home projects over the years, and I will get grief for this because I have griped and complained about all of them.
Now he's going to be like, I have record that you enjoyed it.
That's right. This is good.
I know. I shouldn't have said this in front of the camera, y'all. But those are the times I look back on and think that was a good time. That was a good time that we spent together because we're sweating, we're working. Just a couple months ago, we had to tear up some kitchen floors. It took us 3 days, and we're sweating and shaking and going at it with pry bars. But I look back on that time, and I can only think of it fondly because we were bonding, we were working, and it was those times that I felt invited into a space where he belonged and said, no, you belong here too.
Yeah. I've actually had the same experience with my dad. He's retired now, but he was an airplane mechanic and did a lot of home repair and a lot of projects, involving hammers and saws and all the various tools. And that just was not, I mean, I'm like you, I'm a writer. I think that's about all I do. And yet he invited me in, not to like make me that person, but to say, I want you to be a part of this with me. And that does it does something to your soul as a son, doesn't it?
And there's a really good quote that I think kind of exemplifies it. I don't know who said it, and I know I'm going to butcher it, but it was something to the tune of, if you suffer someone or enjoy someone, you are not companions. It is only when you suffer with someone or enjoy something with someone, then you're companions and sharing in that experience.
Yeah, because I think sharing is the right word there, right? And so to have your dad say, I want to share this experience with you, it's kind of bringing you to his level on the playing field, isn't it?
Kind of that idea of that word with.
Yes, exactly.
That we talked about, just this whole idea of doing something with someone, or being with someone, is that's where the connection happens. So.
What does that do on your end, Nate, as a dad, when you invite, Caleb or Bradley into your world?
I enjoy it. It's usually a little bit of a warm-up process to get the other party involved.
Oh, we just got to give you grief so you don't think that we like it.
Yes, that's most of it.
That's not actually a reflection of our feelings. It's just was in the contract.
It's part of the process.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's
exactly.
right. No, I think,
Hey,
again, doing something with someone and having, I think especially your kids. I have my daughter Sadie, who is just inquisitive about everything. And if she sees me headed to the garage, she usually beats me there, asking me what the project is or where we're going and what we're doing. And there's just something special about doing just even mundane tasks with someone else. Just that part of just being together.
And those mundane tasks build upon one another to be a life experience, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's how that is built in the moment, is that you have the mundane moments that build up to where when the big things happen, they're filled with the mundane moments that make that normal and appropriate.
Yeah.
And
So a
so,
mosquito on your forehead.
You want me to slap it for you?
he's looking for dinner.
Can
right.
you fix my elbow?
Yeah.
These mosquitoes are getting
They are.
vicious.
Coming out with a vengeance. I've already got 3 or 4.
Take this down more.
No,
Here, I'm going to give you these.
Okay. You want some
I'm gonna-
water?
Well, I want to adjust this a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
This feels like it's slipping down.
Oh, sorry. Can I try a little more that way?
There we go.
Yeah,
That's it.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Also,
Can you
Are
get-
we on a loop?
I don't think so. So I think probably
should we turn around?
heading
We
back
could
the
just
other
walk in
direction.
reverse the whole time.
Yeah, we could just.
I mean, it's
Can
the,
you guys
it's the
look-
100 steps backwards, you know?
Can you guys lift up, and I'm just going to readjust
Okay.
where this is sitting.
I'm gonna set these.
So when you
Down
lift
here.
up, guys, just make sure you're not lifting forward.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lift up on that. Yeah. There we go.
Good call. That was my natural instinct to go that way.
Yeah.
Just blow me.
That doesn't want to tighten it as much as I want it to. But that's okay.
Is that
All right.
better?
Let's try that.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I want to stand
the
up
elbow's
straighter. I
still
don't want
okay?
to.
Yeah, the elbow's good.
Yeah, that's better.
And pillow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're golden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We are.
We'll go back this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. I was working hard to keep you balanced.
Did you want the trekking poles or? Well, if we can backtrack just for a minute, I'd love to talk a little more about, because it's something about the Chinese culture that I really enjoy and appreciate, and would love to kind of get you guys' take on and Nate, we did a session together recently at a conference, and we talked about this. I don't remember if we talked about it in the session or just in preparing for the session.
We did a lot of talking.
We did a lot of. I feel like we did like 8 sessions, and one of them was the actual
Yes.
thing. But do you remember you were talking about, when you need. I think one time you told me about you needed light bulbs for the care center, and in America you would just go to, a big store, a big box store, and you would buy however many light bulbs you needed, run the credit card, and that's it.
Yep.
But in China, you had a very different experience, right?
Yeah. In China, you negotiate, or you find your person, and you spend time with that person, and you get to know them, and
What do you mean, find the person?
well, you walk down a street of about 1,000 stores that all sell light bulbs, and you pick one.
Or more accurately, you drive all the way across town to find the stores that sell light bulbs.
That's right.
And there's 1,000 of them.
And
There's
they're all
1,000
right
of
next to
them.
each other, and so you have to walk around until you pick the one that suits you best, and you walk in and you start building a relationship, and you talk about buying a light bulb. And as that progresses, and you feel that you can build a relationship there, you talk about buying maybe 5 light bulbs, and then maybe 10, and then as that progresses and as you feel more comfortable with that, you get to 1,000 light bulbs or 2,000 light bulbs or whatever your goal is. In my case, it was 1,548 bulbs.
Because you worked at a 6th floor care center.
So I happen to have counted all of the light sockets in our building. And
which is a separate conversation.
Which is a whole separate conversation. But it's through that building that relationship and that commitment then that I built a friend for life that would also happen to sell me some light bulbs. And
then you're a light bulb guy.
And then I have someone who will take care of my light bulb needs for as long as I have needs. So, but it's in that relationship building and the time spent even up front that gains that window into being able to find somebody that you can build that relationship with.
Which kind of goes back to what you were saying about relationships in general, that you kind of got to put in that initial time to see if it's going to work and to put in the effort, right?
Right. I think there's always an initial time to see if you both are going the same direction and traveling the same path, or at least similar journeys, that makes that a reasonable expectation to be able to walk that journey together.
Yeah. And we have seasons, right? Where some seasons we have certain people walking with us, and others we have others. And a beautiful thing with you guys is that you're family. So that season is going to be much longer than any friendship you could ask for, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Now, not to jump around too much, but because I know I just went back to the family aspect, but did you have any light bulb stories, light bulb relationships, if you will, these business encounters where you built a relationship? Did you have any of those that did kind of grow to be like friendships that you got to enjoy more so? Does that make sense?
I think those where the time was available to be able to continue those relationships, then yes. I think those times when, whether it was our favorite restaurant and getting to know the owner, or somebody coming to do work at one of the care facilities and getting to know them, and then going and finding where their lives would intersect ours and to kind of meet them in the middle. There was a few really treasured moments where where those lives would intersect, and we'd be able to do more than just whatever the initial transaction or the initial desire was.
Which I guess is how our deepest friendships happen, right? Is that we kind of trip into the friendship based on one common thing, and then as we grow and get to know each other more, we realize that there's more connection, and we have a deeper.
I think, Kevin, that's yours and my story, is that there was a connection. You had a passion to be able to see the world and to share in that. And I feel like from my side, part of that connection was when you showed up to Maria's and all of you wanted to engage. You wanted to learn. You had really good questions, and you wanted to delve into the lives around you and to be part of that. And I think it was that initial investment of time on your end that opened that door for our relationship. Because you came and you sought to enter into that in a way that was very appropriate, but also just by showing up.
Now, Caleb, that raises a question for me because so you're a teenager, you're in school, right?
Yeah.
And typically school is where in high school and is where we make friends because we share the commonality of being trapped in a desk for 10 hours or whatever. Yeah, it feels like
too long.
Yeah.
Too long.
But and it's almost this like relatability through survival, really.
Yeah.
In a way. I know that's putting it drastic, but but for you are online, right? And you have been for some time.
Yeah, for 5-6 years.
Yeah, well, because of being in China, right? And then just continuing that since you've been here in the States. So what does that look like for you? We were talking about friendships being intentional time, intentional engagement, and we do live in a world where, especially right now, a lot of things happen on a screen. And I think all three of us would agree that the heart was made for more, but right now that's what we have. So we're working with that. So what does that look like for you to actually like start, build, and cultivate friendships that way?
That's a good question. I think a lot of it again boils down to being willing to show up and being willing to put yourself on the line, because I know, and for a lot of my life, I mean, there are two kinds of friendships, right? There are the friendships that are placed in your lap, and there are the ones you pursue. And neither one is better than the other. Neither one is superior. Like, I have friends who were thrust into my lap because I moved to China, and I treasure those friends in the deepest places in my heart because they're amazing and I love them. But then I realized that there was another kind of friendship in the friendships you seek out and you choose, and when you're willing to put yourself out on the line and be genuine in a culture that values being put together, which I think is a direct contrast to human nature. And just, I think a lot of that, like, I made a couple friends through my online school because I accidentally started a writing group. And I just said, it was at the very beginning of COVID, and I was a little desperate for human social interaction. And so I said, hey, would anybody be interested in just writing together? And about 15 people were like, yes, I would love that.
Whoa, usually it's like 2 or 3.
And I panicked because I was like, this is a lot of people. But some of we called ourselves the wordsmiths, so shout out to y'all, you know who you are. But we came together and we wrote, and sometimes we didn't write and we just talked. And the more time, and I struggle for the right word, but just reality. The more of yourself that you're willing to put on the line in that relationship, they deepen and they grow.
So is that what you mean by showing up?
Yeah.
Putting yourself on the line. And is that vulnerability?
Yeah, vulnerability. Okay. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Just being willing to say, like, hey, here I am. And I think that's really important in our relationship with our friends. That's really important in our relationship with God. I mean, I believe it was Elijah. He's like, Lord, here I am, send me. I don't pretend to know what you're doing. You've got things that are bigger than I am. But you've also got me. Here I am. If that's your plan, send me.
Yeah.
And I think just being willing to say, to just, like I did, just post out and say, hey, here I am. And the more you do that and the more you show up, those relationships will grow and deepen in that.
Yeah, and I think both of you are so good at that because you are two people. This is something I admire about you. You are two people who don't really have anything to hide or preserve from the world, you know? You can say, here I am. You know, this is what you're going to get.
That's what I learned from him.
Right.
Like it or not.
Yeah.
Yep.
How have you learned that from your dad?
He's always been honest. He's never, and I'm gonna stumble through this, but he's never lied and been nice to me when he thought it would make me feel better. He's always told me, this is what's happening. This is what I'm asking of you. This is who I am. And I want you to be a part of it. Like when we moved to China, he said, I have this offer. We want to go to China. We feel like God is calling us here. I won't go unless he calls you to.
Yeah.
And he was honest. And
how old were you at the time?
I was 9.
9.
I was but a wee lad. But that's been the tone of our relationship. You gotta.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate that.
Do you smack you in the face a lot?
Yeah. You know, just keep him in line.
It's not often I'm appreciative of that, but this would be one of those
He's too
moments.
tall. I can't get at him most times. But he's always he's been honest with me, and he's told me this is what I believe. This is what I'm doing. And I want you to be a part of it. And that's one of the things that I admire most about you, Dad, is your honesty with everybody. Is you won't shortchange him or sweet talk him. You'll tell him exactly what it is, exactly what you believe is true. But you leave it there, and you just say, okay.
Do what you want with it.
Now it's your turn to move. I won't make you move, but this is what I believe, and I want to grow up to be a kind of person who can do that too.
Well, you are on your way, my friend.
I would say he's far surpassed that point already.
True. And that's actually one of my favorite stories about you guys of when you went to China initially. Nate, you sitting the boys down and saying that, you know, I feel like we are called to this, but I need to know that you are too. And that's such a step of faith, a step of faith in the Lord, that knowing the heart of our good Father and saying, you know what, if he's called me, he's going to have to have called my whole family, because, you know, his heart is for us to be a family. So he's not going to like pull me off to something apart from them. So it was a step of faith, and it was a good way of kind of testing whether you were hearing the Lord right, you know, through that, because they could have said no.
And part of that, if I'm going to be honest, was that was a good out if that was what needed to happen.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, is what was going through your mind when you said that to them, like, you know, or coming up to that moment?
I think there was very much two sides of that story in my head. One of those was, China seems really hard, and so if the boys don't want to go, then that's an easy one to say, nope, it's not going to work. The other side of that was really kind of, I have to honor my parents in this, in that growing up, we were in the same situation, and my parents said the same thing to us, that if there was ever a moment that we felt like things were not going the way that we as kids thought that they should, that that they would pick up and that they would leave. And so we always knew that we were first. And I think growing up and knowing that was really important to me. And I think it's easy to make your kids bitter by forcing them into things that they don't want to do. And so part of that was, I want them to make the choice. I know that God is able to handle their emotions if things don't go the way that they feel like they should.
Right.
But that won't be reflected in me because they have made that choice and I've listened to them and honored our relationship.
And I can testify to that because there were a few months in there where being in China was really hard and I didn't want to be there. But I know because you gave me the opportunity to, that it wasn't just that you had chosen this, but that you had allowed me to choose and to make a mature decision, even at the tender age of 9.
Yep.
That you trusted me and that I heard from the Lord saying that, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be.
Well, and I think for all of us, we want voice. And I think as parents, part of our job is to give our kids voice and to let them realize that they matter. And this was an easy one for them to be able to engage in that choice and be a part of it. And we knew that if we all got to China and they didn't like it, that was going to be a really big crack in our relationships. And so we had to go together. We had to know that we were in it together in order to be able to move as a family through whatever happened next.
Yeah, it's a lot of trust there on every angle, right? Every side. Trusting the Lord and trusting each other to move together into that, right?
Trusting each other and jumping out of the boat was pretty much what it was. So we just figured we all had to hold hands when we jumped out of the boat.
Oh yeah.
Because at least you were doing it together.
Yep.
Right?
And there's something to that because it is the time, like we talked about, but it's also the trust of, and I think our relationships with each other are a reflection of our relationship with God. Is that I trust you, and trusting God with who we are and who He made us to be, and trusting others with who we are as well. And like Dad just coming and saying, this is what I feel called to do, but I trust you to make a mature adult decision. And
join me in that.
And
right?
yeah, and that was an invitation into something greater and higher than I had ever experienced before. And I treasure that, and I will forever.
Yeah, and that invitation, when you accept it, then you kind of step up into that, and you grow. And I love that. I love that that we get to grow. That's what relationships are about, right? It's an invitation and growing in those invitations.
And running out the door back in saying, I'm going on an adventure.
I'm going on an adventure. So true.
And I mean, that's kind of what friendship is to me. It's that I know I won't come back the same. I don't know what I'll bring back with me.
Yeah.
But I'm going on an adventure.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, thank you guys for doing this. This has been an adventure. So, you carried me.
That was an adventure.
Yeah, that was. Good job, man. I'm proud of you. Now you can wear the shirt with pride.
I can.
We should scratch out the we and put I.
That's right.
No, the we is important, right?
Yeah, the we is important.
Because it was both of you, right?
Yeah. This would have been a short podcast if it was just I Carry Kevan.
Exactly. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you guys are part of the we here. And
I'm honored.
We're honored to be a part of the we.
Yeah.